Hello and welcome to a new installment of the Six Cylinders podcast. Today we're fired up only on 4 cylinders as we have myself, Andy, Dominic and Henry, and we're going to talk about yesterday at the time of recording, Brazilian Grand Prix. Let me just run you through the top 10 before we start talking about the race itself. So Vettel won the race starting from P2, got the lead into turn 1 from the pole seat of Valtteri Bottas. Behind were Kimi Raikkonen, Lewis Hamilton, then were the two Red Bulls of Verstappen and Ricciardo, followed by Felipe Massa in his last Brazilian Grand Prix. Alonso and Perez were pretty close to him, and rounding off the top 10 was Nico Hülkenberg in the Renault. So, what are your thoughts on the race, guys?
It wasn't a great race, but Hamilton and Ricciardo gave us some entertainment.
Yeah, Hamilton started from the pit lane after crashing out of qualifying, which was, there were a lot of memes in internet, Twitter, and all kind of stuff. Like, it was strange to see Hamilton crashing out of qualifying in such a weird fashion. Like, he just downshifted in one gear too low, and the rear just snapped, and he basically had no chance of saving it. And he started from the pit lane with a completely new engine, which was something which definitely helped in the race. And also a new setup, which was less draggier with less downforce, so he can make easier overtakes, which definitely also helped, but still it was pretty good drive from him.
Yeah. Well, this new engine had 70 horsepower more, like a half specification for next year or so. Well, he drove very well, yeah, like Ricciardo, and that was very entertaining. Also, the few crashes.
Yeah, there was
like Grosjean.
Yeah, quite a bit
Ocon.
of carnage at the start. And let's start with the S's, where there was a contact between Magnussen, Ricciardo, and Van Dorn.
Yeah.
Still, I don't know how Magnussen didn't get a penalty for that. Like, he said he didn't see the cars next to him, but that's not really an excuse. I mean, in my opinion,
No.
he did squeeze both Van Dorn and Ricciardo and left absolutely no space for one car, let alone for two cars.
Yeah, that's what I asked myself when I saw the replay. What was he doing? I don't know. Always
I'm
such crazy
surprised he
things by him.
Get a penalty.
Yeah.
It's always Magnussen, isn't it? I can't believe he didn't get a penalty because it was where he was on the right side of the track, and then he just goes for the apex on the left. But there's two cars in the way. I mean, even if he wasn't sure they were there on the first lap, you don't dive to the other side of the track because everyone's still close together.
Especially like in Brazil, because the run down to turn 1 is pretty short. So through the Senna S's, there are quite a lot of cars side by side down towards turn 4. So yeah, and then there was also the second collision in lap 1 between the two Frenchmen, Grosjean and Ocon. Grosjean losing the car.
To
and
be fair,
yeah,
that was a racing incident.
Yeah, I think that was more of a racing incident, really. But he got a penalty and Magnussen
Yeah,
didn't,
when I
which
first
is
saw it,
stupid.
I thought it was Perez, and I was like, I don't give up. I don't care. But then I saw Ocon, and I felt bad because he was holding a record for most finishes. Yeah,
our consistency is over. Yeah.
That was quite sad.
Yeah, it's sad times.
How many was it? Like, since Macau in 2014, what was that? 40-something races in single-seaters without a retirement. That was
45.
45, yeah. That's quite a lot
Yeah.
if you think about it. Like, 45 races, that's
I mean,
a lot.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of luck, but also skill and just not crashing.
Yeah. So, after the collisions in the first lap, we had the safety car, which, let's say, helped also a little bit the comeback of Lewis Hamilton, who started from the pit lane, because, as we know, starting from the pit lane, he has to wait for all the cars to pass through turn 1 and then start, so the safety car was a bit of a saving grace for him, but, and I mean, even without a safety car, I think he would have still, passed all these cars pretty quickly, and to think that at one point of the race he was even leading, and he was not like struggling. He was really on the pace, even though you could say that he had a brand new engine, which definitely helped, and of course a less draggier setup, but still to do that sort of pace without struggling with the tires that much. I mean, he was faster than the cars behind, which were Vettel, Bottas, and Raikkonen, on very worn softs after the three leaders pitted. So it was still a decent race for them.
It's a bit worrying for next year if the Mercedes engine's going to be that fast.
I mean,
because I don't know if you guys saw the picture when Hamilton was overtaking, I think it was Verstappen, and it has the graphics on
30
board,
kilometers per hour, yeah, 30.
I was quite happy when I saw them. Then the Mercedes engine kicked in, and on the straight it's just unbeatable.
Yeah.
Well,
I thought they were gonna have a battle.
Well, the others had very old engines, like 5 races or so, and yeah, this engine is very good. But I don't know. Maybe next year it will also be a nice battle between Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull, or so.
Yeah, let's hope Renault solves their reliability issues to help Red Bull get into the battle.
Well, and the other times we said that the Mercedes is built for driving in the lead, and yesterday Hamilton had so many overtakes, so yeah, maybe it was because of his skill, so it was also a good drive, not just this engine.
Yeah, I mean,
it was good.
Yeah, we were talking about engines and how others had, older engines, like 5 races or so. Hamilton's engine was brand new, and he doesn't have to worry because there's only just one more race. And even if something happens, which is quite unlikely for a new engine, he's a champion. He doesn't really care if his engine blows up or not. I mean, it doesn't make a difference for him now, so he can go flat out as hard as he can, and that's what he did yesterday. So respect for him, and deservedly one driver of the day, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was a good fight with Raikkonen at the end.
Yeah, Kimi. I was surprised when he caught up to Kimi and didn't overtake him, but I guess the lockup he did with 3 or 4 laps to go didn't really help him. His tires were very dead at the last few laps, and he had no chance of attacking Kimi.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but there was a few laps where I was really thinking Hamilton could win.
Yeah, me too. I even tweeted it. Like I didn't really want to say it, but you had to admit it that Hamilton had a chance of winning this race at one point.
Yeah. If he could have got past Raikkonen straight away, and maybe Mercedes told Bottas to let him past, he could have had a good chance with Vettel.
No, Toto Wolff said that if the 2 drivers were battling out on track, they were gonna let them battle it out. But I mean, Hamilton would have easily passed him anyway with those super softs, even though they were worn. I think it was just Bottas, not really in his best form yesterday. I mean,
they won't be giving out team orders. They already won both championships.
Yeah, there's no reason to do team orders.
Yeah, but I think they want Bottas as vice champion. Well, maybe they.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe team order would have helped, but it's kind of hypothetical. So you can talk.
Well, Bottas is 22 points behind Vettel, so he needs a win and Vettel retirement in Abu Dhabi to get second place in the championship, which is possible knowing Ferrari's reliability, but still. It's not very likely. But I think we can talk about, the front runners a bit, Vettel, Bottas and Raikkonen. After Vettel got Bottas at the start, it was pretty much very controlled race from him. Very, he pushed when he needed to, and he, conserved his tires when he needed to. And the only point Bottas was really close to him was at the pit stops when Mercedes surprisingly did an undercut. Ferrari didn't really learn from last year and continue sometimes to make these strategy mistakes. They let Bottas undercut Vettel, and it was pretty closer than probably Ferrari wanted out of the pit lane, but after it Vettel pulled the gap once again. He just controlled the race till the end. I mean, even at one point where Hamilton was like 3 seconds ahead of Vettel, he wasn't really pushing because, you know, he knew that there was no reason to, you know, use the tires a lot more than he needed to, because, you know, no need to catch up to Lewis and get slowed down by him. And in the same time, Bottas would have caught up. So it was smart race from Vettel and deserved victory, I think. First one since Hungary, long wait for Ferrari, so they deserved it after all the unfortunate issues.
Yeah, Hungary feels like a long time ago.
Yeah, it is.
So it was nice to see Ferrari on top again.
Yeah. And as well, both cars on the podium is quite good as well for them.
I think third race in a row, Raikkonen's been on the podium.
Yeah, it is.
Which hopefully can keep that up for next year and be a bit stronger next year.
Hopefully. I think Ferrari do need a stronger Kimi next year if they want to have a chance for the constructors next year.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Ferrari has given up on the constructors championships. They're more focused on the drivers championship. That's why they renewed Kimi's contract.
well, I think if they...
Yeah.
I mean, Vettel was a part in the Kimi's contract renewal, but I guess if they still, you know, renew his contract, they have some faith that they can probably win a Constructors' Championship with him, even though, you know, he's not the most consistent driver right now.
I think while Mercedes have still got Bottas, you know, Raikkonen's doesn't look that bad compared to Bottas because he's not the best driver.
Yeah, I was gonna say that we can, you know, maybe mention Bottas once again. He was good in quali. I mean, he got pole. He got it together after Vettel made a mistake in qualifying, and got pole. But in the race, he was just meh. It was just a bit average from him.
So, Bottas only does well when Hamilton does bad.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, remember Russia, Austria, Hungary, all these races where, you know, Lewis was bad. Monaco as well. All these races where, you know, Lewis was not really on the pace. Bottas was, I'd say, better. I mean, he did well in those races. But I think out of all races in which Lewis had issues and, you know, wasn't really there, but this one was the worst for Bottas. But yeah, I mean, after the front runners, we can talk about Should we talk about Red Bull? They were, yeah, not really on the pace of the two front teams, even though they had the expectations to be closer.
Yeah, I expected them.
After Mexico, I expect them to be better.
Yeah, me too. Well, as I predicted in the last podcast, I thought Verstappen will win. So, like they performed in Monza, I thought Sao Paulo also kind of track like Monza. Yeah, Red Bull will be better.
Well, they performed at Monza in quali because it was wet, and then in the race, Ricciardo was just doing some great overtakes. But yeah, I also expected more from Red Bull this weekend. But I guess, I mean, with this Renault engine and all the reliability issues around it, I guess they were just trying to conserve their engine. I mean, they weren't running at full power, in my opinion. So, and still Verstappen got the fastest lap. So.
Yeah.
But he was really complaining about the tires. So maybe Red Bull had also bad tire wear this weekend. Yeah. One of the reasons they weren't so much on the pace.
Yeah, he worried.
Tires.
Yeah. Sorry, Henry.
Yeah. I was going to say, but speaking of Ricciardo, some of his overtakes were crazy, weren't they?
Yeah, I remember going down the inside of turn 1, I was like on the edge of my chair, thinking, oh no, he's gonna crash, but he didn't. I was so happy that he didn't. I mean, he produces some really nice overtakes when he starts from further back the grid, and it's really entertaining to watch him. That's for sure.
Was his car okay or something damaged? I don't really saw any damage, but
When?
Because he was in the crash on the first lap.
No, I don't
Yeah.
think there was. Maybe they were fearing some puncture. I don't know if he did a stop after lap 1. I think he probably did. I mean, his tires were probably flat spotted, but
Yeah.
judging by the fact that he continued on without any problems, and we didn't hear any team radio of the team, saying, "Oh no, we have a problem. Box this lap." I guess he was so
Well,
right.
Flat spot reminds me of Lance Stroll.
That
I
was
don't
that
know
was
why.
a, that was a pretty weird. Like he just he just locked up. I think it was turn 1. I'm not really sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he just locked up in turn 1, and then on team radio he said, "I have something on my tire." Like at first I thought that something really got stuck on his tire, but it was in fact the tire itself that just
Yeah, well,
started
he-
delaminating, I think.
he locked up 3 times or so in first corner, so his tire was gone. I don't know why they didn't have pit, because he was 14th or so. Well, yeah,
Yeah, nothing to lose.
I don't
really.
understand really. Yeah,
Well,
but then while talking about Williams, I think we can talk about Felipe Massa's last race.
yeah, it
in
was
Brazil.
definitely a good race from him. He was on the pace. He was first of the race behind Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull. So good race from him. I actually seeing his qualifying and after practice and after Q1, I really thought that he can maybe even challenge the 2 Red Bulls without Mercedes engine at the back of his car. But he was no match, for them. But still, P7, it was pretty good result, and pretty good race from him. And of course, how can we not mention the team radio of his son after the race?
Yeah,
I don't think that there was a there was a dry eye after that.
Yeah.
Pretty emotional. Yeah. But still, he did a fantastic race, and so did Fernando Alonso behind him as well.
yeah.
Fernando
They were-
congratulated him.
Yeah, that was nice to see Alonso clapping him at the end.
Yeah.
Because they were together the whole race, but with the Honda engine, Alonso couldn't really do much.
Did you see Alonso's interview where he said, "I fear for Toro Rosso next year," so something like that.
Did he say that?
Something about he said something about Toro Rosso and the fact that they were gonna have Honda engines, something like that. I think he said the power deficit was amazing. I fear for Toro Rosso next year, something like that. And I'm not really sure. I can't really quote it, but anyway.
Well,
Yeah.
Toro Rosso make now experiences how it feels next year with Honda engines, aren't they?
That's
With these much-
something I want to talk about. The controversy between Toro Rosso and Renault, which started on Saturday after Renault said that the problems Toro Rosso have with their engines might be because of how the engine is implemented into the car, and that something is wrong in the Toro Rosso car itself. But first of all, before we mention the Toro Rosso statement, I'm just gonna say that I don't really think that's the issue. Like, yes, Renault had issues with engine most of the season, but they weren't really that much up until the point where they announced all this breaking up of the contracts at Singapore. I mean, it does seem a little bit suspicious, but after seeing Toro Rosso's statement, everything escalated after Franz Tost said that Renault might, he suggested, not directly, that Renault might have, something in that, like deliberately giving Toro Rosso broken engines. Like, I think the statement said exactly that. Don't forget that they're battling with Toro Rosso for a better place in the Constructors' Championship.
Yeah.
So that's a bit controversial.
But I don't think Renault were really doing that. So I'm
Yeah.
not surprised they were quite angry with Franz Tost
Yeah,
for saying things like
it
that.
would be pretty, mad if someone does this. I mean, if they in fact do this, I mean, Renault or Renault, they did Singapore 2008, even though the whole team was, with different people there. Renault or Renault, so I mean, if that
Yeah,
if that actually if
that was more to do with
Briatore, yeah, but still, if that actually happens and they, the FA somehow finds out, they'll probably get disqualified. But I still don't think it is the case.
It's quite fun.
I don't.
Another topic is Force India, because I think they said they weren't too angry if both drivers don't score any points for the rest of the season, I think, because the amount of money that they have to pay to the FIA for next season would be higher than the money they get for their position at the end in this Constructors' Championship, if I got it right.
It was basically because they secured 4th place in the championship after Mexico. They could just get 0 points on the last 2 races. They'll still finish 4th, but every point they get in those last 2 races is gonna cost them. What was it? 5,000, I think, around 5,000 more for the entry fee for next season's championship. So for every point they score, they're gonna have to pay 5,000 more to basically take part in next year's championship, which is a pretty mad fact. I mean, they could just not even go to Abu Dhabi because they have. I mean,
kind of crazy.
They have nothing. I mean, they could even tell both of their drivers to just crash out. I mean, it won't be a surprise to see Perez and Ocon having an incident after all happened this year, and that they're free to race even though they weren't that close on track this race, so there was no opportunity for us to see a fight between Ocon and Perez. But I mean, if they do end up, let's say, side by side in Abu Dhabi, I won't be surprised to see Force India scoring no points. But I don't think they will do it. I mean, it's a Formula One team. They've surely got like a 5,000 more for a few more points.
Yeah, but if they crash, that would be. That would cost more money, I think.
Yeah, to fix. I mean, they probably won't need the cars anymore, so they might as well just leave it. But still.
Yeah. Well, maybe they can test some aerodynamics in Abu Dhabi for next season or so. Don't know.
Well, there is a test after the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix.
Yeah.
Something interesting about this test is that there are rumors that Robert Kubica is gonna drive for Williams in that test. And that test is going to decide whether or not he will be in this Williams car for next year. I still want it to be Wehrlein, but it's looking more and more likely that it will be Kubica.
I don't think it'll be. I don't think it'll be Kubica.
Even if it is, the question is, can he do all the races?
No.
Yeah.
Because we know about his problems with his hand, so it's going to be difficult at some tracks, I think. Especially with
in Singapore, yeah.
I don't think which hand was it that was injured? Not really sure.
I think he's right. No, his left. His left. I don't know.
But that is definitely gonna make a problem with at some of the tracks. Maybe some of the tighter tracks like Monaco and Singapore. Definitely.
Yeah, I would rather see Wehrlein at Williams more than anyone else, but it'll probably be. I think De Resta, actually. I think they'll go for De Resta.
Well, Williams have got quite a bit of options. They've got Kubica, De Resta, Wehrlein. They've got also Kvyat and Palmer. If none of those three go there, I mean, they've got a few options. So
I think their safest bet is Wehrlein.
Or De Resta, because he drove this year's car and knows the team better.
Yeah.
He knows the team better, that's the thing.
I still think it will be Wehrlein.
I hope it is Wehrlein. I really like him, and his talent will be wasted. I mean, if he leaves F1 after this year, I don't know if he'll return, which would be pretty sad if he
Yeah.
doesn't.
It's all politics.
Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate. Like, as well at Sauber, the situation at Sauber is, all about money. Like, we have Ericsson, who isn't really performing up to standard, and hasn't scored a point since 2015, and yet could still stay for, Antonio Giovinazzi, who will probably miss out on a seat for next year. It's still not sure. I mean, there were interviews from Frederic Vasseur that he said that the team has given him, the opportunity to decide, and there will be announcement. And he said that he hopes the announcement will be in Abu Dhabi, but it's, he's not sure. He said that it for sure will be before Australia, which is obvious, but
Well, obviously. I want Giovinazzi at Sauber, obviously. And I think it will be Giovinazzi instead of Ericsson. I can't see them keeping Ericsson on for another year, really, because he's not good enough.
well,
So if he gives enough cash,
yeah,
will stay.
that's the thing. He gives money to the team. His sponsors basically own the team, so that's the sole reason we're debating this right now.
Well, the question
Yeah,
is
but-
if Sauber wants to score points or just want money or so, because you get money for points. So I think you should always get the better driver. So maybe
Well, they'll get
Giovinazzi
money.
instead of Ericsson.
They'll get money from Ferrari anyway if they take Giovinazzi, or at least save money by getting cheaper
Yeah.
power units.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, if they run, they will, like, Leclerc is done. Even though it's not announced, it's 100% sure that he will be at Sauber next year. Everyone is saying it, everyone is sure about that, so Leclerc is done. So they have some sort of discount for engines because of him, for sure. But I think if they get Giovinazzi, the discount might be even bigger.
Yeah. Well, at least they have now 2018's engine then, and not from the year before.
Yeah, that's another thing
So-
that would help for sure. And yeah, if they can build a better chassis with better aero, then they might be in the midfield next season.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, is there anything else we have to talk about? Do you remember anything?
I think we've covered everything. Just
Yeah.
About-
predictions for Abu Dhabi.
About the race, everything about, all the topics we have, everything is done. So yeah, we could move on to predictions for the last race of the season. The season has, flown by really quickly, and it's time for the predictions for the last race. Does anyone want to go first, or should I go first?
I go first.
All right.
Who? Andy or me?
You
You two decide.
Okay.
So
Well, I think pole position, Vettel, second in quali, Hamilton, and third, Verstappen. And in the race, Vettel P1, Verstappen P2, Hamilton P3, Bottas P4, and Ricciardo P5.
Andy, do you want to go or?
Okay, I'll go. For qualifying, I'm going with Hamilton, Vettel, Bottas, Raikkonen, and Ricardo. For the race, Hamilton, Vettel, Ricardo, Raikkonen, Bottas.
Good. Henry, you or me? Who?
You go next.
All right. So, Abu Dhabi is supposed to be better track for Ferrari, so I'm gonna say Vettel pole. I want to say Kimi second, but I'll go with Lewis, then Kimi, then Verstappen, Bottas, and Ricciardo for quali, and for the race. I'm gonna go for Vettel win. For next P2 would be, I would say Verstappen, then Lewis, Kimi, and Bottas.
Right. I think for qualifying it'll be Hamilton pole, and then Bottas, and then Vettel. And then in the race, I think it could be a bit crazy. I think it's last race of the season, so Verstappen's going to play some bumper cars on the first lap, and it'll be Raikkonen win, Bottas, Ricciardo, Esteban Ocon, and Massa.
That's a mad prediction.
Yeah.
Wow.
I hope I wasn't taking the banter too far there, because I think it'll get a little crazy.
Yeah, that's a pretty mad prediction. Well, we'll see in 2 weeks' time at the time of recording this if it will be actually true. So yeah, thank you all very much for watching. If you enjoyed our podcast, then give it a like. Comment down below what are your predictions for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and also what are your thoughts of our podcast. Yeah, we plan to do a MotoGP and F1 season review in the near future. Hopefully, in 2 or 3 weeks' time, both of these will be up. Subscribe to the channel to see those videos and also see future podcasts and future content. Follow us all on Twitter. Links will be in the description down below. And to whoever has YouTube channel, links for the channels will be in the description down below. Go and subscribe. And yeah, that has been from us. And we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Arrivederci.